A very good afternoon to all of you joining us today. I'm Rachayata from Logistics Insider, and I welcome you all to our Thought Leadership virtual event on the theme RoDTEP and Export Promotion Scheme in Tandem Towards Better Numbers, powered by Jeena and Company. Now, hopping into the recent past, the United States challenged the Indian export subsidies under the Merchandise Exports from India scheme, popularly known as the MEIS. At the WTO, that this happened at the WTO. Now, when the WTO dispute panel ruled against India, a scheme compliant with their guidelines was framed by the Indian policymakers, which was called the Remission of Duties or Taxes on Export Products, or RoDTEP. The scheme, in a fresh approach, follows the global principle that taxes and duties should not be exported and supports, encourages, and facilitates low volume exports from India. But that's not all. The government of India is leaving no stone unturned to support the export sector and make it more competitive in the international markets. The export centric industries are being reformed and are being introduced to better mechanisms to increase their competency, boost exports, generate employment, and contribute to the overall economy. India has also signed several FTAs and PTAs with different countries to expand its export markets, and the recent PLI scheme is also expected to augment India's exports. Now, to understand and discuss the practical benefits of such export promotion schemes and the role of FTAs and the market access initiatives in trade facilitation, we bring to you industry experts and leaders who will provide insights and strategies to the Indian exporters to help them overcome the challenges they face and take advantage of the opportunities available. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce you all to our panelists for today. I'll start by introducing our session moderator, Mr. Behram Panveliwala, Senior Manager at Jeena and Company. Behram has been in the international logistics for the last 25 years. He has an industry exposure in export, import, customs brokerage, and regulatory compliances. Welcome to the show, Behram.
Thank you.
Next, let's welcome an expert in EXIM, Dr. Pramod Sant. He is the former Vice President, Head of Import, Export and Customs, Siemens Limited. An extremely warm person, Dr. Sant has devoted the majority of his career to looking after EXIM operations for Siemens in India and creating a huge knowledge base with his experience. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Paresh K. Mehta, partner Sharda Corporation and Group of Companies, who is also the incumbent Western Region Chairman for Federation of Indian Export Organizations. He has been associated with a lot of trade associations and has traveled extensively globally for business and lead trade delegations. Sorry, and has led trade delegations, which has culminated into opening of new markets for the industry. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next let's welcome Mr. Dilip Thakkar, Senior General Manager Exports, Serra Sanitary Ware Limited. He has a 33 years of experience in building material and consumer goods industries at various levels in large-scale organizations. Currently, he is handling sales in Oceania, Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas with a team of 15 members and total business volume of 4 million US dollars. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Dr. J. Ramakrishna Shastri, General Manager at Pfizer. He has more than 27 years of experience in indirect taxes and has worked in different pharma companies like SOL, Nicholas, NFCL, Rampex, Dr. Reddy, and Teva. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Well, it's an absolute delight to have such a prestigious panel with us today. And before I pass on the baton of the show to our expert speakers and to Bahram, I would like to inform our audience that our speakers will be taking your questions towards the end of the show. So you may drop in your questions in the chat section that appears below. And with that, I pass on the reins to Behram to lead this very exciting and thought-provoking session. Looking forward to hearing from you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Racheta, and thank you for having us over today. And I'm very sure that with these stalwarts of the industry, today we are going to have a very fruitful discussion on this scheme, which is commonly called the RoDTEP.
Right.
This is
Absolutely.
so to begin with, I would request Mr. Dilip Thakkar to just run us through the salient features of this scheme. Over to you, Mr. Dilip.
Okay. Thank you, Bayram. Just one small correction. It's 40 million, not 4 million, which export worth, which I'm handling. Anyway, uh, see, this RoDTEP, as mentioned by Rachita, was actually a replacement of MEIS. Some or the other, how every exporting country feels the need to support the local guys to be able to export as much as they can and support the manufacturing activities which are bound for export. Towards this end, India was having MEIS scheme which was more open and more supportive in nature. So WTO objected through USA, saying that you cannot be openly and blindly passing on some export incentive to the manufacturers and making them more competitive in the market. Now, these WTO guidelines are for those who follow. Okay, it is an obedient student who actually gets the breadth of the teacher. So, for example, China has been following left, right, and center n number of policies which are anti-WTO, but we are not able to do anything about it. Neither US nor India nor any other country. Whereas India is a compliant country, which is fortunate, which is good for us because we want to lead the world someday. Now, RoDTEP has been made to appear as if it's a remission of duties and taxes, which actually it is. There is a lot of working which has gone in introduction of the scheme. I think they worked for about 7 8 years. They gather the data of the industry, and some industries tended to benefit from MEIS. There are more schemes available now. Some industry lost the ground, and like building material, we were getting MEIS of average 2.5 to 3%, which has now gone down to 1 to 1.5%. But that's immaterial. Basically, RoDTP is a scheme which is more to do with the the taxes and the government levies which you pay on your product, and that makes you little more competitive in the international market. Now, the way in which we get this scheme is far more easier, far more easy to implement compared to MEIS. MEIS had a lot of formalities where a lot of physical handling of papers were there. Here, simply on the day of making the shipping bill, you tick one column says RoDTEP, and automatically based on the HS code which you are exporting, the amount of RoDTEP compared with your sales figure or the export figure will get credited in your account that very day. The only thing is it will come to you in a different form. So after having ticked the RoDTEP column in the shipping bill, you wait for the BRC to come. That means the payment for the export which you have made. Once the payment comes, once the bank confirms the BRC will get linked to the shipping bill automatically. And when you go to the website, you will be able to see the shipping bill for which you have received the payment, and they are clear for getting the RoDTEP benefit. So once you tick them, and you can generate a script which will be a sum total of all the shipping bill where you are eligible for the scheme. And once you get the script, that script becomes your hard money. It is equal to money, and that script you can either sell in the market, you can transfer to a third party after getting whatever benefit you get. Sometimes 98% of the value, sometimes 99, sometimes even 101. It all depends. And
Right.
that script becomes your cash which you utilize against your own import, or you can sell it in the open market. So RoDTEP as of now, if you look at it, main from the perspective of the sales manager like me, it is basically a reduction of cost or it is addition of profit to you, and that is how we view it because it's fixed. Like on my product, if it is 1%, it stays as 1% unless there is a change. This is the basic scheme of RoDTEP.
Yes. And I would like to add to this that RoDTP is available. This benefit can be taken along with drawback. The
Yes.
drawback is there on the applicable HS code which is being exported in a particular shipping bill. The RoDTP is available along with the drawback. Now, after having heard Mr. Thakkar giving us the various features of this scheme, I would like to ask Mr. Paresh, who are the category of exporters who are eligible to take the benefit of RoDTP?
I think so. In most of the categories and the HSN codes have been covered. It is almost like a 9,000 or 10,000 codes. HSN codes are covered product categories. I think so. Few of the left are chemicals and engineering, Chapter 72, and the pharmaceuticals. They are left in the and over and above to that, EOU, SCZ, and the products which are imported against the export orders under advance order authorization licenses, they are not eligible for the this road tab.
Okay. Now, that has brought us to another important part of the RoDTEP, that there are certain exclusions. Now, what are the exclusions on which the benefit of RoDTEP is not available? So, Mr. Sant, Mr. Pramod Sant, you can tell us?
Yeah.
Can you share with us the exclusions from this scheme?
See, if you look at exclusion, number one is we need to go to first basics. The road tape is supposed to be the reimbursement of the taxes, which you
Correct.
cannot get credit. You get an advance license, you don't pay a basic duty, you don't pay IGST, etc. Similar way, you are paying some taxes, which could be electricity charges, which could be mandi tax, which could be the taxes on fuel, stamp duty, property taxes. So, which needs to be refunded, and that's why this scheme was developed. However, it should be given to every exporter technically, because every exporter is paying that. It is to be given to every exporter. But unfortunately, this is not a situation. Say, for example, the advance license or advance authorization holder is not given a benefit of RoDTEP. Now, advance authorizations gives you a waiver only into basic duty IGST. So still he's paying all these charges on other state and other duties, but he don't get this benefit. Similarly, SCZ, FTWZ, EOU, all these people are, of course, so they don't get this benefit. So I think when you say it is there is a remission scheme of the
Correct.
taxes, then remission should be to everybody. However, this is not a situation, and the exporter in these areas, those who are using advance authorization, they are suffering because they don't get this 1% or 1.5% or 2%. This is the situation. Yeah, and of course, all the categories are not getting. When the scheme was originally released in August 21, there were 8,555 HSN code, which is now increased to 10,463 as in
Okay.
January. So you can
Right.
imagine the HSN code which are excluded are pretty high number, and if you are in falling in that industry, you don't get anything. Yeah, back to you,
Right.
Bayram.
Yeah. So now that we've heard the good points, we've also heard the exclusions, we've also covered who all are eligible for this scheme. I would request Mr. Dilip Thakkar to just throw light on what are the lacunas, what are the challenges that in general the exporters are facing who want to avail the RoDTEP benefit.
See, I tell you, compared to MEIS, it is far more better and far more superior in both execution and realization of the fund from the government. The only thing is, like it happens with every technical subject, there are some shipping bills which will get missed completely, and then you have to probably reload them or reinstate them on the DGFT website, and these are routine affairs. Like you have a good mobile which works well, but once in a while even that gets jammed and that gets uh, you know
Yeah.
so there is the lacunas are mainly on the technical side, which are easy to handle, which are not difficult. But on the face of it is a far better scheme than MEIS in terms of execution and realization. And second biggest thing is, like Dr. Sant mentioned, we have still lot of HSN codes missing out. There are still lot of people who are not having the benefits, especially if I apply for advance authorization and if I am not getting RoDTEP benefit, that's a huge loss to me.
Right.
So this still stays, and there are a lot of persons like Mr. Paresh Mehta. They have been making a lot of representations to the government to this effect. So eventually, I think it will all iron out, and things will get more stabilized. But
Right.
in terms of realization, the difficulty is only 2 to 3%. 97% is fantastic.
Right. Right. Very good. So while in the beginning, Mr. Thakkar told us that whichever exporter wishes to take the benefit of this, he just has to tick on RoDTP as yes, and then the shipping bill calculates the value of according to the Appendix 4R, which specifies which all HS codes are included for this scheme and the rates. There is another thing that we should always keep in mind, that is the intent to claim benefit should always be written on the body of the shipping bill. That should be included, and that was mentioned in the beginning as one of the conditions, so that the custom system can process it in the RMS accordingly. Risk management system, whether this shipping bill has to go for special scrutiny depending on the value of the shipping bill, whether it is supposed to go to the DC level or not, etc. So now, once we have covered sufficiently the features, how it works, who is eligible to get the benefit, now I think we can come on to the topic. If we want to compare the RoDTEP scheme to the erstwhile MEIS scheme, as we've discussed that the MEIS scheme is no longer functional and it was RoDTP or RoDTEP had replaced MEIS. So now if we want to go in and really compare the RoDTEP and MEIS, I think Mr. Sant can give us a few points in comparison of these two, MEIS and RoDTEP.
Sure. So, Behram, one is that you cannot or you should not comparing the two schemes actually, because the MEI scheme was an incentive scheme. And
Correct,
you know
correct,
what is the definition meaning of incentive is given to encourage people to give this thing.
correct.
Whereas the RoDTEP is a remission scheme.
Remission
The
scheme.
MEI was given to account for inefficiencies in infrastructure, cost associated with that, and it was given. So, basic principle of both the schemes are different. One is an incentive scheme, one is a remission scheme. Then, second part is that the another part is the values. If you look at the MES percentage was common in most of the time for people. Whereas in RoDTEP, how RoDTEP has arrived, if you look at the committee was formed under Mr. G.K. Pillai, who was a secretary home. Below, along with him was a member customs, retired custom member, Mr. Parande, and Mr. Gautam Das. They asked to all industry association the details in prescribed format. How is in your exports, what is the value of this property tax, electricity charge, where fuel, what is the distance for your factory to the port, and how much is the petrol or diesel is consumed. And they did a detailed working, and many people have spent really a lot of time in giving these inputs. The Based on that, committee worked out some percentage, and it was submitted to Ministry of Commerce. However, Ministry of Commerce has not adhered to that recommendation. They have slashed these figures. So what has happened, if I was getting 4% MEIS, and Mr. Paresh will really substantiate that, now I may not get even 1%. If you look at the lowest amount of RoDTEP is 0.01, and
Okay.
the 30% cases of entire out of this 10,000 get only 1%. So number one is that you have not fulfilled the promise of really remission of the duties. Number one, this is important thing. Another thing which comes to mind is that we are not very sure why some sectors are excluded, when they will get incorporated. If you look at the notifications, the way which they are coming, uh, the you have something come into 2021, then 2022, December, January 23. Now we don't know, let us say the other sector, when they will get included, how much they will get. There is no systematic approach or calendar for that. So
Okay.
sometimes if you look at in January 23, there was a revision. February 23, there was a revision. December 22, there was a revision, adding some items, changing that. So you have
Correct.
trouble. And two important things you must remember, that there is a value cap
Yes.
and there is a rate ceiling. See, that means what happened, even if I have a genuine data, even though I am spending a lot of in taxes, I have decided sectors which I will not allow. I have put a value cap, I have put the ceiling rates, and whatever are the recommendation, I have slashed that. So even though scheme may be good, as Mr. Thakkar has mentioned, but it's not really good for exporters. They need to have more, some reasonable amount. Now I have talked to people, somewhere it is coming in kgs of material. People are getting 100 rupees in RoDTEP. I mean, your administrative cost of putting tick and accounting 100 rupees is much more than getting 100 rupees. So, lot many issues are there. They need to make
Right.
scheme more attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I would like to ask Mr. Paresh Mehta, if we compare RoDTEP to ROSCTL, what are the differences? Mr. Paresh, you need to put your audio is on mute, sir.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, sorry. Okay,
Now
I'm
it's
back.
fine. We can hear you now.
Okay, ROCTL is like a rebate of certain central and state taxes,
Correct.
whereas refund of the road tab is only indirect taxes or input, which are we are not refunding by any other incentives or schemes.
Right. And even Mr. Shastri, you can
Right?
put a little more light on ROSCTL is applicable, I think, only on three chapter heads, right?
Yeah, it is applicable for three chapters, ROCATL, and RoDTEP scheme is not applicable for 28, 29, 30 chapters as pharmaceuticals and chemicals. And yeah, bulk drug and pharmaceutical, then these 28, 29 chapter and 30 chapters is not included. And also, Dr. Pramod sir is so told that absolutely correct, for advanced license we are getting only one or two materials as per, because all advanced license mostly is sanctioned as per the sign norms. Ad hoc norms 4.07 is only for a few companies going for ad hoc norms. For most of the companies going for sign norms, the sign norms will be fixed in long back. Nobody is not using that raw material. Only one or two materials only imported through advanced license. Rest of the things will be imported in direct import route, and basic custom duty is a cost to the company. So besides to that, there is a inputs are procured from domestic also. There is a, in a particularly for SEZs, INEVO is also not covered. Advanced license also covered. EPCG license holders is covered for RoDTEP scheme, but advanced
Right.
license was also not covered for that. So these are the things will be there. And so much of because this road up scheme is not put it in systematically, because rates wise it is very drastically
Less.
changes as per compared to the MESK.
Correct.
Actually, their motive is fulfilled or not. That is also one question to the industry is coming for that. They okay, road up scheme is correct. Actually, they are remitted for what are the taxes which are not creditable or not exempted. Actually, they are written back that credit that benefit to the exporters. That is very big question mark is going for industry.
Right. So one of the categories which are categories of exporters which are not eligible to take this benefit is also these apart from EOU SEZ, they are those who have taken the remission of duties or taxes in any other scheme. As you correctly said, that if they have taken benefit in any other scheme, then they are excluded from this. Now, this brings us to one of the latest and the most encouraging things that the government of India has started, which is the mover scheme, MOOWR, that is manufacturing and other operations from warehouse regulations. So, Mr. Shastri, you would be the best person to throw light on the mover scheme and how this is helping the exporters to encourage to get encouraged to export more and more and add to our export numbers.
Yes.
Please.
Actually, this mover scheme is a lot of changes happened for last finance bill 2023. Before that, Section 65 is there. That 65 is a Customs Act applicable for mover scheme. And the Principal Commissioner, as per regular practice, is, we are going to his Principal Commissioner or Commissioner get the permission. And without payment of duty, we have to do the all activities, manufacturing, all these things and export it. From that export, we have to do, there is no requirement of payment of duties, including IGST and compensation cess. Whereas in first April 2023 onwards, in Finance Bill 2023, they implemented what they are Section 65A is implemented. In this, they have asked to pay compensation cess and IGST and for storage or transferring the material to warehouse. And instead of previously we are filing the bill of entry for home consumption, they asked to file the bill of entry for asked for a warehouse. Previously, we have a bill of entry for warehouse we are filing. Now they are asked to file the bill of entry under home consumption. So they are asked to pay the duty of IGST and compensation cess. If it is we have manufactured goods and send it to outside India, there is no need to pay the duties. And here I want to bring the two, 3 points in this regard. First point is okay, we have paid the duty IGST compensation sales. And this duty, how, suppose I manufacture the goods and go to the do the exports activity. How to get this refund of this amount? In the GST, you have two options are there under Section 54. Only two options are there. One option is Rule 89. Inputs are used for manufacturing of export product. Creditor that creditor. Next product Rule 96A that told pay the duty on export product straight away pay the duty of 18% or whatever may be the applicable duty, get the rebate, like previously central excise rebate concept. In
Correct.
this, there is a that first of all, this 68A, 65A, there is a blockage of funds. First of all, the industry previously they are not required to pay the any duty. They manufacture bring it material without payment of duties. If it is manufactured, they get exported. There is no need to pay the duty. If it is manufactured, go to the domestic supply. What are the material imported? That proportionately we have to pay the duty. That concept is there. Now we have to pay the duty in initial stage, and we in storage also we have to put the duty. It is burden to the industry, and I think so. There is no much use of this much mover scheme now. This is the
Okay.
first point. Next point, one DTA holder want to clear the material from mover scheme. mower scheme manufactured by one finished goods manufactured in mower scheme in warehouse. They want to one DTA holder want to clear the material by using the advanced license. There is a some okay. It is this is, theoretically it is eligible, but practically, suppose that input finished goods manufactured any import is used for China or any that supplier has to register in India. That is also one technical point is there. So advanced license DTA holder cannot procure the material. It is difficult, practically possible, but it is difficult getting the clearance from advanced license from mower scheme. From mower warehouse, they have to take the material against the advanced license. Little bit difficult. As usual, the RoDTEP scheme is not applicable for Section 65 manufacturing goods.
Correct. Yeah.
That is there in the paragraph 44, 4.55 in foreign trade, recent part of foreign trade policies also they told that. One more thing is also whether the MES script is incentive. Dr. Pramod sir, they told that it is MES script is incentive. Incentive is whenever I get the incentive in the GST, it is treated as the exempted turnover. Okay, and that they have to pay, they have to reverse the credit and proportionately they ask to pay the duty and reverse proportionately. But in a RoDTEP scheme, refund of tax and duties and taxes, whether that concept is continue or discontinue, because that scheme is different, completely different. That has to be clarified by the Minister of Revenue.
Right.
So these are the points are there for a more scheme. And more scheme going forward, more scheme it is cost effective because it is not cost effective. We have to pay the duty entire amount and convert it into raw material into finished goods. Whether it is exported, it takes a lot of time for consumption to convert into finished goods, and further it is going for exports. It is take off a lot of. This is blockage of funds. More scheme.
Right. Right. So I could request Mr. Paresh to just throw some light as in what are the commodities. Of course, we know it's a very exhaustive list of Appendix 4R. What are the major industries and commodities which are covered, and which are the ones that the exporters or the FIO or the exporters associations would like these products to be added to the RoDTEP scheme. Mr. Paresh.
Yeah, the the major benefits goes out of the RoDTEP goes to textile and other industries, except the few of the which are left out till now, mainly the chemicals, pharmaceutical, and iron and steel. I think so in January 21, 20, they added the in iron and steel for the chapter 73 too, but still chapter 72 is missing.
Oh,
And as Mr. Dilip Thakkar said that chapter 28, 29, and 30 is still not there in the RoDTEP. So
right.
this mainly on the pharmaceuticals and the chemicals, few of the chemical products.
And we all know that India is becoming a good uh, exporter of pharmaceuticals, API as well as
That's
other
correct.
formulas.
And iron and steel
So
also,
this
because
industry should be covered.
engineering export is almost crossing more than 100 million in the every year, like last couple of
Hmm.
years. So engineering also is engineering export. All of the products should be included, and FIO is working on the subject and already pursuing with the Department of the Commerce and the Commerce Ministry and the Finance Ministry.
Right. Another point that we should discuss, and I would throw it open to the forum, whoever wants to reply, is that are the rupee exports covered under the RoDTEP? Do exporters get RoDTEP if they are filing their shipping bills in Indian rupees? Mr. Dilip, yeah.
Okay, rupee export in general is not covered, but now we are trying to globalize the rupee. So we have
Correct.
arrangement, especially with Russia of late. The latest arrangement
Correct.
is with Russia, and fortunately, we have been shipping to Russia quite often with the rupee trade now through
Hmm.
Saber Bank in Delhi, and
Okay.
we have been promised that on those shipping bills. It's been only 3 months now. but we've been promised, and I spoke to somebody in FIO also, and we will be getting all the benefits
Right.
of RoDTEP even on the rupee export. It will be treated at par with US dollar or euro or whatever exchange you use. It will be treated at par. And I want to
Right.
also add one more point here, like what Dr. Sun pointed out is very interesting, especially in our own industry. You know, RoDTEP has reduced the benefit of certain products. I mean, MEIS was a value-based scheme through and through. Now, when you convert into kg, let me give you a funny example of our own industry in faucets.
Hmm.
Okay, if you talk about value, one tap will cost you some Indian rupees 4 to 5,000, but one tap will weigh only 10 kgs. So if you give me 1 rupee a kg, you're talking about only 10 rupees. But if you give me 1% of 4,500, it is 45 rupees. So it's
Right.
very funny when you convert the units completely. But I think
Right.
end of the day, the whole thing happened to by succumbing to the pressure of WTO, because end
Correct.
of the day we have to make our posture, in the right way, because we
Right.
can't make India another China. India cannot become, what China is, where everybody says they don't follow the rules and things like that. So
Yeah.
just to keep our posture of being a good country,
Correct.
and I am sure Mr. Paresh will have some figures, but the government outlay from RoDTP to MEIS must have gone down by less than half or somewhere around half. I'm not sure.
Is it? Yeah. And we were talking about China. I was reading in the newspapers that our population we have already beaten China.
Yes, we have done.
Right?
3 days back only we have done. We are now
Yes. Yes.
1.42 billion.
Yes. So our government has done a good thing that at least we've become WTO compliant. Now
Yes.
we are not giving any incentives to our exporters, but we are giving them the remission benefit. Now we all know that the FTP, the foreign trade policy, has been announced in 2023 this year after a long wait. Otherwise, this was to be announced. The previous FTP was valid up to 2015 to 2020, but they did not come out with a new FTP till these, I think, 3 years. Now they have come out with the FTP 2023. So, in the backdrop of the FTP 2023, how is RoDTEP going to encourage the various sectors, various exporters of different categories? So I would request Mr. Paresh to start and give us a few, salient points about the FTP 2023 and how it is going to encourage our exports. Again, sir, you have to put on your mic. Right.
So now FTP is, and the focus on the exports is government changing from incentive to remission. I think so. Everybody, we just talk about in the earlier speeches. Then the export promotion, government is giving so many schemes in the collaboration with the exporters, state government, district level, and the Indian missions. Everybody is supporting and everybody is participating in the promotion of the Indian exports. Ease of doing business and reduction in transaction cost and
Yes.
e-incentives, which are saving lots of money and lots of time for the exporters and the exporting community. Because otherwise, earlier we used to go to pillar to post for get all the incentives on the filing the papers. Now, which is digitalized, you have to just file on your sitting at your desk and you file it on you get your credit or incentives or the benefits. And one more addition to the in the policy that emerging area, the e-commerce is developing, and the districts is the, for the as the export hubs and the streamlining comet policies, which is the
Correct.
major pushback for the exports from the India. So e-commerce they will increase the value from 5 lakh to 10 lakh. It's and now it's allowed e-commerce is getting all the benefits which were done by the regular export like sea or air. So there everything is included for the e-commerce, all the incentives or emissions.
Right. So, Mr. Thakkar, would you like to add something? Any other points about the FTP? Sir, your mic is off. Your audio is muted.
Yeah, one of the most distinguishing feature of FTP is that they have made it eternal now. So there are no 5-year blockages. So it can go
Right.
on for a lifetime and then they can amend whenever they want. Generally, FTP was 5-year plan, but now it is anytime anything can be done. Number
Right.
two, I think they will try and globalize the rupee, which is a very big deal. Okay, eventually maybe 29, 30 countries within next 2 years will be dealing with the rupee currency. And for example, Qatar has recently introduced that in Qatar now you can give Indian rupees and buy Qatari dirhams or Qatari riyals. Third thing is they have reduced the limits for the star status house. That's a very big deal. Earlier, it used to be about 2,000 crore for five star, which has been reduced to 800 or something now, which gives you a lot of advantages, lot of priorities in clearing the cargo, and if you apply AEO along with star status house, you get worldwide recognition. So the status house limits have been reduced, which is a very big deal. Like Mr. Paresh mentioned, it's really superb to have technically sound FTP. I mean, everything is becoming E now, which is a very big deal. Even the EPCG has been made little easier for MSME comparatively, and the merchant export target has been revised to 1 trillion by 2025, which looks achievable because we are already at about 700 now. So these are some of the points which are really good points. And even though in appearing as a compliant country, there are a lot of sufferings which happen internally. And but I think end of the day, this government is supporting export like no other has done in previous
Correct.
any number of years.
Correct. So now another relevant question. Yes, sir, please. You
Yeah,
can put on your mic. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, so, Behram, one thing we must see in foreign trade policy, there are only very few concrete steps which will help. One is reduction in transaction cost for MSME. I think this is a really good call. This thing, the fee for application and fee for the extension of licenses is drastically reduced, so which is really excellent thing. And other than that, if you talk of digitization, advanced license were always applied on the electronic and they were coming in 3 days already. Now they have made it
Hmm.
one day. It makes no difference technically. Your redemption has already started online. Now also it is this thing. So if you talk, there is hardly anything which has come really concrete. Now e-commerce, the amount is increased from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. However, the things to shape up is going to take time because they are on different custom system and the ice gate is different. So unless they bring it together, it won't available. And the interesting part is that they have made something e-commerce export hub, and it is public private partnership. When it is going to declare, what are the steps for that, nothing is clear. It is just like a poem that okay, I will do something for e-commerce because this is a buzzword. Same is with for district this thing. Now first of all, look at commerce ministry and finance ministry, they don't do together work. There is always a dispute
Correct.
even in transmission of license. Now you have a district level, you have a district commissioner, and the collectors are going to help you. So your collector, district collector, will look for law and order, or he will look for the exports. What are we talking? After 7 years, we release this policy, and we don't have a concrete step and see it will come as after some days. So I don't think that the really expectations which was there is met. We need to have really concrete step. Say now RoDTEP thing, which should have included. Why that announcement cannot be done with along with the policy? Why advance authorization could not have been done along with policy? So why EPCG or other categories could not have been declared along with that? They have not introduced any schedule also, that okay, every quarter we will do some changes in RoDTEP and you will be able to plan quarters properly. Nothing is there. So it is a good words, and definitely people have to appreciate that. But if you look at the exporter on ground level, is it something getting added into his exports benefit? It's negligible, and again it is a remission based. So
Right.
you have paid the taxes which you want to recover, for which you have to do a lot of stuff, and it will come to you at later into somewhere where you are included, somewhere not included. So I think people were expecting, if you ask, really go to MSME away from Mumbai, ask him what he is getting. He will not be able to, he will tell you the truth that the smaller industries will are not going to get anything. This is what I can say on the new policy. And the last thing which is very always told, that the 5 years policy. But look at in earlier 5 year policy, for FTP was first 1 year, then it was made 3 years to have stability, then it was made 5 years for stability. In
5 years.
5 years, you are making hundreds of changes already in past. Now you are telling it has got no end, but I will keep on making the change. So what
Yeah.
are we talking about, that it has got no end? How it is going to help me? Because in last 5 years you have closed MEIS, you have changed the rates, you have withdrawn that ACIS, you have withdrawn. So I think this stability thing is again
Very
just like I'm,
important.
yeah,
Right.
sorry for
Because
saying that, but I mean people need to really look into, really is something I'm going to get to my industry or not. Yeah.
right. And whenever there is a change in the scheme, there are so many shipments, there are so many shipping bills for exporters who miss out on getting either of the incentives. When things change from focus product to focus market to MEIS, there were several shipping bills where the exporters did not get the benefit of anything. Nor did they get focus product, nor did they get MEIS.
I know.
Similarly,
I
when
will tell you.
CTL was changed so many times.
Yeah, yeah. Because Paresh will have a list of his exporter must be grumbling that some shipping bill which are missed in past MES, still that problem is not solved. Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm
Yeah.
quite sure you keep on having old issues hanging around. And same is with amnesty scheme. It is for whom really? Amnesty scheme has got one clause, says that if you are having any show cause notice issued in GST and custom area, you will not be eligible. So now you look
Hmm.
at, where will be the people who will not have show cause from any of these authorities? So what amnesty they will get? They are not going to get any amnesty.
Right. Mr.
So
Paresh wanted to say something?
Yeah, there was one addition. The plus point was given in this FTP was a merchant trading, which was earlier not people were not allowed the merchant trading, from buying from one country and shipping to exporting to third country and getting the
Okay.
remittances, which is included in the FTP. I think so. It's a
Okay.
very big push for the export.
Yes. So while we are doing the critical analysis, we should also look at the
The plus points.
plus points, right? Mr. Shastri, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add one point regarding mower. If you pay, if the government insists to pay the duty for a mower scheme for IGST and compensation cess, this when this will be reimbursed back. Suppose I exported the goods, it takes at least to 6 months time for realization of that money.
Correct.
Starting from procurement, even transfer of this material to warehouse, they need to pay the duty. So, what is the encouragement to the given to the exporters?
Yeah.
Suppose if you I pay the I am ready to pay the duty whenever the mower scheme mower from finished goods transfer shifted to sell to DTA. I am ready to pay all the duties. So, what is necessary to pay the duty in first stage itself? Why they implemented for 65A? It is completely discouraging for this attitude, this move. Because
Right.
I personally facing for GST. Actually,
Okay.
Dr. Pramod is told that who will get so many people are getting the show cause notices GST. There is no tribunal as of today.
Right.
So they are given left and right show cause notice to the and the amnesty scheme is implemented. They put the one clause for the show cause notice, no show cause notice. That clause definitely it will not be useful to any industry. Maybe one or two people maybe eligible for that, but it is not helpful for that is also 2009 to 14, 5 to 9 foreign trade policy advanced licenses. They ask it to pay BCD, SG, and interest portion is 15% on interest portion. They are asked to pay, and also that is also not a IGST amount is not a CVD amount is not a convertible.
Right.
So amnesty scheme is there introduced. At is it is not much use for the industry. Much
Right.
use
Right.
for it.
Right.
But a more scheme 65A, it is damage the industry. First of
Yeah.
all, blockage of refunds. First of all,
Mhm.
blockage of funds is most critical in this more scheme.
Right.
That's one.
So, since we have discussed everything about the RoDTEP, and we've also done a good brainstorming session about the new FTP that has come in, I'm very sure that there will be many questions which our viewers would be waiting to ask us. So, Racheta, can we request you to take up the questions? And gentlemen, thank you all very much for speaking on this incentive scheme where the exporters are depending on this scheme for getting every little penny or saved is a penny earned. So thanks for the exposure. And now, Racheta, you can take the questions from the audiences.
So thank you so much to all our speakers and you as well. I think we have the questions ready here. The first one is from Bhaskar Bhuyan. So there are different slabs, if that's understood correctly. There are different slabs of um, rates of RoDTEP like 0.5, 2.5, and 4%. So he asked that, do you think 2 to 4% rates for exporters of fresh fruits and vegetables are too low?
Maybe Mr.
Any
Paresh would know.
answer?
I don't think so because see, in the vegetable fruits is it's a process or non-process. That's a question. Two questions, two different things. Is if it is processed, then you use transportation from the farms to factory to exports. Whereas from raw vegetables and raw fruits, then it goes from farms to straight to the
Oh,
exports
correct.
port, right? So wherever the most of the road tab is mainly for the taxes or any of the taxes or indirect taxes has been paid on the product while exporting has to be refunded. That was the understanding of WTO and the government, and that is why they created the road tab. So if the processed food, then there is a electricity, fuels, and other taxes has been paid, which can be refunded through the road tab. So 2 to 4%, I think, so should be higher if it is non-processed. If it is processed, depends on how much publicity, how much taxes and indirect taxes has been paid on the product.
Right,
Correct.
right. Does anyone else want to add on to that?
Yeah, again, there it is important that from where which type of vegetable and fruits are there. See, because it is a very vast area. It's a country is our very big. If you are producing something in Pune district and exporting through JNPT, your calculations are different because it
Right.
is very close to port. Your fuel, other things. If you are having, you need to keep it in storage or you need to do some special processing. Even for a fresh fruit, it will add to cost. Similarly,
Mm.
the packing standards in foods is very different. So it will depend on really type of commodity within the vegetable and fruit. Also, you need to see what it is, from where it is coming, how it is packed, what are the standards in which each country is going. Is it going to Middle East, it is going to Europe, or is it going to USA? There are many things which you need to look into, and accordingly, so you cannot have generalized answer whether it is less or high.
Sufficient or
uh,
not.
yeah.
Right, it's completely situational, of course. Well, we hope your question is answered, Bhaskar. Next up, we have a question from Mr. Bhupendra Kumar, and he asks, what are the advantages of a three-star export house? Yes, yes. What are the advantages of a three-star export house?
Yeah.
I think if this question is being asked from the RoDTEP point of view, whether it's a 3-star or a 4-star export house doing the exports, the RoDTEP rate would remain the same.
I think
No,
because this might have come also because you were discussing the FTP,
yeah,
and that has a changes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Rachita, I wanted to add. See, this is a one is this three status holder certificate is from Ministry of Commerce. Yeah,
Mm,
and Ministry of Commerce can influence only in few cases, which is there. Yeah, say for example, now they have added that the self ratification of norms for a 2-star and above. So this is a new addition that if you are a 3-star exporter, you can do a self ratification of norms, which is a good point in the policy. However, most of the things are related with a customs, which is Ministry of Finance. If your custom clearance time or how fast you get a drawback or how fast you get a road tap is determined by Ministry of Finance and Customs. So the if you look at in this certificate, it has got limited usage. However, only one positive point which we have found that 2-star and above will have a ratification of norms, which is there. Yeah, and the bank guarantee, another advantage is bank guarantee is not there. But if you are paying some amount of GST, you don't have to pay bank guarantee. If you are AEO, you don't have to pay bank guarantee. So the best combination is that actually the status certificate and AEO benefit should be compared, and what can be given beyond AEO should be there in status certificate. However, we will always recommend that people should go for AEO tier 1 followed by tier 2 and tier 3 so that they will get the maximum benefits. Yeah.
right. Right. Well, I hope that answers the question for Mr. Bhupendra Kumar. We have the last question for today. That's from Tariq, and he asks what more can be done to minimize the refund related problems in the case of RoDTEP.
Okay. Uh, Maybe should I, Behram? Should I take it?
Please, please, yes, sir.
See, number one is that in RoadTap, one important thing is that you have, if you are done already working, it is good for you to know where you stand against your internal taxes which are gone and how much RoadTap you are getting benefit. So you are very clear that I'm going to get only 1% and not like MES 2% or 2.5. So how you can reduce further cost, you can do your homework and do something. But apart from that, one is that the right filing of your shipping bill, right tick is there, and the good control on freight forwarder that he files the EGM properly. There are no error messages. You have to periodically check that everything is in order. My shipping bill is right. It has gone through system. There are no errors, so that you have better chance to get the road tap on time. Second thing is that apart from that, at later date, you need to see that your export obligation or your money receivable is coming in time as per FEMA regulation, and you have BRCs with you, because otherwise the custom will come back to you and say, show me evidence, and maybe you have not got BRC or you got BRC not traceable. So you need to keep it with you so you can really ensure that your internal processes are tied up with road tape requirement. And last thing is that if you find the road tape is not coming on time, then you have the forums with customs or through organization like FIO. I see lot can happen if the drawbacks and road tape is not coming to FIO, they take it up, or CII takes up with customs. So you need to monitor that it is your money which is promised to you immediately. So you need to keep a tab on that and follow if you find any variation which is happening. And sometimes customs come with some week, 1 week or 15 days where they want to clear all old backlog. So if you find that your money has not come, then take advantage of such schemes when they are coming. Uh, but it is your money. You need to ensure that you do everything right to get that money.
Correct.
Right. Okay, we have one more question that we'll take. That's directed to you, Pramod sir. Mr. Prateek Sharma is asking, um, do you think there can be different categorization of countries and the ROTEP will be different, just like what MEIS used to operate?
See, again, the basis for both the schemes were different. Why some special treatment was given to some other country, not to that in MEIS, but in the focus market scheme earlier to MEIS? Because we wanted to develop some market. Say India thought that yes, Latin American market is a new which is not tapped, so I give a little more incentive for Latin America, or I give for some other countries which were specified. But when it is a remission of duties, these duties are incurred into India, so you have nothing to do with other countries. So you have to, really speaking, you will not get that advantages. Then you are favoring some countries. You will go back to the WTO objection that you are favoring some countries. If you export to Latin America or Brazil, you get so much more money, RoDTEP, and you send it to Europe, you get less RoDTEP. This will not happen. So I don't see any possibility of that.
Yeah, this
Right.
used to happen in the days of market focus and
Focus market products.
focus product. Yeah,
Product.
Mm.
nowadays there is equality whether you are exporting to anywhere.
Right. Right. Paresh sir, would you like to add on to it? Paresh sir, would you like to
Yes,
add
sir.
on to it?
Yeah, because RoDTEP now there is no, except over and above to the RoDTEP, there is no benefit for the countries, not specific countries, because it was used to be, as Dr. Sun said, that it was for the focus product and focus countries where government wanted to enhance the trade between the CIS countries, Latin American, and few of the African countries.
Hmm.
So whereas now there is no, all the countries are same, and there's no extra additional benefit for the from country to country or zone to zone,
Hmm.
continent to continent. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So I think we're done with all the questions. Yes. Okay, well, thank you to all of our speakers. Now, to kind of summarize what I understood and what I think would be appropriate to end this session is that it is understandable that a lot of work has gone into developing the RoDTEP, and it will surely be worth the efforts of the policymakers. Now, once the challenges are taken care of, I think the scheme would help in improving India's ease of doing business and uncomplicating the regulatory side of EXIM activity. And I think the scheme will also work towards promoting export diversification in the country by including more sectors and products, which will open up access to new markets and increase the customer base for India's exports. I hope I didn't miss anything there.
You
Um,
covered it well.
and I think if I had to describe this session, it would be real and erudite. I mean, it was as real as it could get from the perspective of say Dr. Sant or probably Dr. Shastri, Mr. Shastri, and all the credit for this making the session a success goes to our expert speakers. They made it thought provoking for all our audiences, and I'm sure that it has made the picture of export promotion schemes much clearer and helped many of our exporter friends to better understand ways to navigate the challenges that lie ahead. A special thanks to Jeena and company for being our sponsoring partners in this thought leadership event, and a heartfelt thank you to all our audiences for joining us today. Thank you so much, our speakers, for taking out time from your schedules and joining us today. Goodbye, everyone. Take care and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Bairam. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.